to me, alignment is essentially the code word for how we create more ease and flow in our lives. The things that you desire and you want in your life are a direct result of who you are. The success in your business is not narrowly focused. The success in your business is a byproduct actually of who you are. Therefore, a lot of the coaching is just directly focused at growth and production and tactics and techniques, leaving out like, who are you genuinely? What is your definition of success? Like, what is your intention for getting into this business?
Welcome to Wisdom from the Helm, where we go beyond the typical highlight reels of real estate's most trusted women to reveal the secrets of their success, not just in business, but in life. We're your hosts, Danielle Wilkie and Heather Frick, and today we are thrilled to welcome our friend and colleague, Kelly Parker, a founding coach of the Helm and a trailblazer who's redefining success in real estate. She is the founder of the Home Collective in Chicago, where she has built a RealTrend's top 5% national real estate business without relying on cold calls, purchase leads, or generic marketing tactics. And her approach is rooted, and her approach is rooted in authenticity, alignment, and a deep understanding of individual strengths. But Kelly's impact most definitely has not stopped there. Through aligned ambition, she empowers women in real estate to build thriving businesses that honor their unique design and values. Her coaching integrates human design, energetics, and personalized strategies to help clients achieve abundant success on their own terms. And Kelly's journey from launching her career during the 2009 housing crash, which is bananas, like who does that, to creating a multi-million-dollar enterprise really shows that it's possible to achieve professional excellence without sacrificing your personal well-being. So get ready for an inspiring conversation about breaking industry norms, embracing authenticity, and building a business that really aligns with who you are. Hi, Kelly.
Hello. That was a fun intro. Thanks.
So great to have you here today.
So happy to be here.
All right. Well, we're just going to dive right in because we want to just eke out every moment we have with you. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you about was to talk about this concept of alignment. And specifically, like, what does it really mean? And how does it impact one's success in real estate? Like, give us the story about alignment.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you asked this so casually, and it's like a whole labyrinth of a treasure trove of answer for you. I mean, I think like, most of us know what alignment means in general, right? Like you go to the chiropractor because your neck is out of alignment. So you click things in and things flow easier. They feel better. You have more flexibility and ease. And so to me, alignment is essentially the code word for how we create more ease and flow in our lives. And I think we're used to hearing about alignment in terms of values, right? Like, are we aligning our actions with our values? And while that's important and true, I think I use alignment in several different ways, but all kind of gets reduced down to one. And so I'm going to say like what I speak to it as the reduction of one, which is to me this is about frequency alignment. And we get to frequency alignment through identity alignment, action alignment, and energy alignment. So for me, identity alignment is, am I acting as the person who maybe has the thing that I want to create in my life or in my business? Because the things that you desire and you want in your life are a direct result of who you are. And so if we don't have what we want, or we're not seeing, the product of that, it often takes us acting and behaving in a way that's a little bit different than how we have in the past. So I talk about identity alignment. I also talk about action alignment. Are we taking actions that are a match for our actual intentions and the things that we desire? There's energy alignment, which is, we all have are designed in different ways. We all have different ways our energy function. And the results of the things that we want in our life and our business are a direct result of us honoring our unique energy. But the reason I share these things is that I do believe that we are all, creators in our own right. We are creating our lives all day, every day. Our businesses, particularly in real estate, I think the reason why people get into real estate is so that they have the freedom and the flexibility to create exactly how they want their life and their business to look. And I think part of honoring that and embracing that is realizing that everything is energy, and things that are of like kind energy will resonate together. And so to me, my work with women in real estate around this particular piece of alignment is there resonance between your energetic, blueprint or frequency that you're off putting and the frequency of the things that you desire to create. And so, like, for me, alignment is, are we showing up, acting as, the version of ourselves that wants to create these things in our life? And what is the awareness and the intention that we need to have at play to really do that? And so that's my kind of long-winded. I know you didn't really ask for like the go all the way deep on it, but I just feel like this question keeps coming up of like, what is alignment? And I know it gets thrown around a lot. And for me, I think my definition is a little bit different because I think there's a lot more at play than we kind of realize at times.
Will you give us like that was actually really helpful to hear it in that kind of depth. Can you apply this to like real world scenario? Like, let's say I am running my business. Give me an example of when I'm maybe not in alignment, and give me an example when I am in alignment.
Oh my gosh, totally. I mean, I just got off a coaching call where someone was having something go down with an agent on their team and feeling really frustrated and really like, why are we running into the same pattern? Why are we having this reoccurring issue? And the knee-jerk reaction was, I need to change our split and I need to approach it differently. And I need to be really clear in what I'm asking. And I need to have expectations. And I was like, yeah, totally. But also, there's something playing out with you that is allowing for this to keep happening. And we need to have a moment of self-awareness around what is, and I think in conscious leadership, we talk about this, right? Like, what's the unconscious commitment for this to keep playing out? What is it really doing? And in a course of our conversation, we actually got to the root of something around self-worth and this concept of like them doing it perfectly means that they respect me so much that makes me like worthy. And so in real time, I'm like, you cannot get the outcome you're desiring through mechanics and technique and tactic alone. This is about self-awareness, clarity of intention, and then action. And that's like my aligned success method that I use in my coaching a lot, so that the actions you're taking are actually in resonance with the desired outcome that you want. And so many times the action we're taking is coming from a place of fear, scarcity, or lack, and not at all a match for the outcome that we want. And so to me, that's like a good example of like, we need to back this boat up a little bit and actually look at how we create the outcome you desire through, awareness and intention. And that to me is the alignment piece. That is I can keep actioning all day long and like hope that things change. Or I can have some self-awareness and clarity of intention. And honestly, self-awareness is deep work. Like, that's deep work. It's what in me has to be healed. What in me is operating from a place that is actually not a match for what I want. And what do I need to do first to shift that outcome?
Kelly, I think a lot of just understanding how you coach and your approach with aligned ambition also has to do with your own story around finding your alignment in this business. Could you just sort of share with us your journey to alignment in real estate, in coaching, and just, kind of a little bit of that background?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a journey. That's for real sure. I mean, gosh, and there's seasons of this journey, like I'll say too, right? Like, the last 5 years, which is what led to sort of the birth of Aligned Ambition, was me recognizing in 2020 that there was 8 years. So in 2020, at that point, I had been doing this 11 years. And I was really burned out in 2020. I'm talking like, burn this thing down. I'm never coming back to real estate. I hate everything about this industry. I hate every person in it. And as someone who loved everything about this industry, loved everything about the day to day, was obsessed with my clients, this like deep resentment was a scary moment for me. And I realized, okay, wait, I'm really burned out. But I realized, and at this point, let's be clear, I was selling like a lot of real estate. Like I was very productive. Like shit was working well, and I was miserable. And I was like, I can't understand how I have built all of this, and now I feel like I'm going to walk away. But there was a moment I'll never forget. I was folding clothes and putting them back into my nightstand when I had this aha moment of, there are no amount of clients that will leave me positive reviews or refer their friends, that as long as that's who I am sourcing my worthiness from, I will always feel this way. And that was like an oh shit moment of like, wow, I saw so clearly how I was outsourcing my worth to happy clients and perfect experiences. And I was like, well, no wonder I'm burned out. So I took a break. I took a 4-month sabbatical in the best year of my career, and people thought I was absolutely crazy. And I was like, well, I don't know what else to do. Like, truly, I'm just going to go. And so I took 4 months. I went to the West Coast just during, pandemic times. So I took some time with family and I rested. And it was in that spaciousness that I created in that 4 months that I realized, wait a second, there was 8 years where this felt really good. And then the last 4 or 3 at that point did not. And like, where did I go? What happened? And I could recognize that it was honestly around the birth of my child, which I think brings up a lot for a lot of us. I recognized how I switched from a drive based on pure service and joy and fun and using my gifts in meaningful ways to fear and lack and scarcity, that like, now that I had this little girl, could I still do this much business? Could I still have happy clients? Could I still mean something? And I didn't recognize it at the time. And so the way I define that is there was 8 years where I was really aligned, and then 4 years where I was really misaligned. And my job now at the end of that sabbatical was to go back from operating from that aligned place. And that's what really birthed Aligned Ambition, is as I started to do that and practice it in my own life. And I saw abundant results. I mean, my team almost doubled in the course of a year. My business doubled. I was home with my daughter on the weekends. Like, I had I created this outcome that I had long desired by doing this alignment work. And so I was like, well, now my purpose is to help women outside of my team, learn this and use this to create really meaningful and fulfilled lives. So yeah, that's been
This feels so wildly different than what has been prescribed in the real estate business for the last 20 or 30 years. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you see in terms of what's been available, how this might be different, like what's the contrast here?
I mean, well, first, like in Aligned Ambition in this coaching, like we're coaching the whole human, the whole woman, like all parts of you, because the success in your business is not narrowly focused, right? The success in your business is a byproduct actually of who you are. And where we get really messed up in this industry is we start building our lives around our businesses and then wondering why we're deeply burned out and unfulfilled. And the industry, love it, and the coaching, grateful for some of it, has perpetuated business at all cost. And so and so then therefore a lot of the coaching is just directly focused at growth and production and tactics and techniques, and leaving out the human, leaving out like, who are you genuinely? What is your definition of success? Like, what is your intention for getting into this business? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't top producer status. I'm pretty sure it was freedom and flexibility and financial independence and abundance. And where I think, and so while I think some of the coaching is great on the technical, like I said, or the tactical things to like create these results, we have to coach you wholly as who you are, uniquely, individually and authentically, and in alignment with what it is you are desiring to create. And when we keep these things married together, we create really abundant, beautiful lives and businesses. When we treat them singularly, I believe we just create a lot of lack and incongruence, I think is probably the word that comes up a lot. It's like it goes back to like, I'm doing all the things, I'm actioning in all the ways, I'm taking the advice and the tactics, and it's not working. And then they tell themselves that they're inadequate, that they're not good enough, that they don't belong in this industry. And that's what really broke me. That's when I was like, I got to get over my own insecurities with being a coach and start to talk about this. Because if I see one more woman leave this industry who's so qualified to be here, because somewhere along the way, she got the message that she was inadequate because she wasn't doing it in the ways, or the ways that were being prescribed didn't feel good to her, like, we're losing great women.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there have been like a handful of people, the same people for decades. They have very specific programs, to your point, oftentimes very much focused on the like how to do the things, like tactics, the accountability calls and the checklists and all the things. And to your point, that can be very helpful. Especially to people just starting out, but what is magic is when you don't just have that, you also have this other piece, this alignment, this sort of, working on who you are in addition to how to run your business. When those things come together, and agents, I think some have figured out over time, or leaders have figured out over time, that, well, then I need a mindset coach, and I also need this coach, and I also need this. And what we're seeing, at least in terms of how you're bringing this, to the world, is actually, what if you could just have all in one? Like, you don't need to have someone for each of these things. They can all come together, and great things can happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in some ways it's foundational. Like, we're starting at the foundation and then we're building up. Like I say, like, I coach ambitious women in real estate to grow, scale, and lead. Whether you're growing, whether you are scaling, and whether you're like, I want to start a team and I want to lead in this way, like, I can meet you at all of those things, but no matter what, we start at the foundation of who are you and how do you want this to look, and who do you need to become for that to be a reality.
I think the other thing that's really interesting that feels like a challenge to the industry, to Danielle's question, is this idea that you can be ambitious and have alignment, right? Like, I think there's been this polarization of those two ideas historically. Either you're going to be aligned and maybe not super successful, or you're going to be ambitious and totally burn out. And this idea of, like, just what Danielle said of, no, alignment is what, and ambition together are what create this like integration and success. So that feels really radical to me as a concept for you to bring to this space, and something that is just desperately needed to be highlighted and featured, as something, as a new way or an alternative way.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think ambition sometimes gets a dirty rap, but we're meant to create. Like, we're on this earth to create. We are the leading edge of creation. Human beings every day are deciding that something else gets birthed into this world. I mean, ambition is a beautiful thing. Where it gets toxic and heavy and hard is when the seed of it is inadequacy, insecurity, fear, or lack. And I'm so passionate about like flipping the script. Like, your ambition is beautiful. You are here with a purpose. Money is not bad. Success is not bad. Like, being at the top of your game is not bad. But which the driver is what we get to talk about, right? And the mechanism for getting there is what we get to talk about. Because I do believe, like, the more resourced you are, the more aligned you are, the more successful you are at bringing your gifts to the world.
You mentioned conscious leadership earlier, and I'm wondering if you can just share a little bit with our audience what it means to you, what your experience has been kind of integrating this into your life, into your coaching toolkit, and just maybe tell some stories around that.
Yeah. Okay. I love everything about conscious leadership. This is like the highlight of my 2024. And I don't say that lightly. Finding out about conscious leadership, which it was one of those things in a 24-hour span of time. I heard about it twice. I had never heard about it before. And on my way to the airport to meet Danielle I think it was Nashville at the time, a client mentioned it to me. You should get this book. Have you heard about this? It was the most random.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then Danielle mentioned it the next day. And so I get the book, and I like devour books. I just like can't help it. And I was reading this book, and I was like, this is everything. Like, I was like, this is the toolkit. Like, how come no one's talking about this? And it was already like parts of the conscious leadership work was already evident in my work, right? Like we assign meaning to things and, to me, yeah, to me, it was the only place I had found so many different things integrated into one that was literally, if you had one book on how to transform, this feels like it's it. And so I was very just excited to learn the information and then to start to integrate it. And I genuinely feel like it is a toolkit. I think I said this to you, Heather, that like, why are we not teaching this in high school? Like, this feels just like a toolkit for life in general, and especially though for ambitious and driven women, it's like who are here and we're creating a very like deliberate life for ourselves and a very, like self-aware sort of like experience that like having these tools, having this vocabulary, understanding that every day we are making conscious choices for how we want to show up, how we want our life to look, where we're driving this boat. I keep saying boat, which is like driving and boats don't go together, but you know what I mean? Like where we're taking this is this, I now don't understand how I didn't have this for the last 41 years of my life, truthfully. So to me, I'm just very excited that the Helm is bringing that into our space because to me, it's an answer to a lot, honestly.
I think too, one thing that we talk about, Danielle and I kind of comment, and I'm curious how this is showing up for you, is I think a lot of the conscious leadership concepts and tools really offer a way or a method of how to sort of be in the world and be more self-aware versus how to do your life, right? It's not an action checklist, which feels very antithetical to a lot of the coaching that may exist today in the real estate space. So, I mean, that doing versus being, how does that resonate for you? And how are you using that? I mean, you are also a team leader of a very successful enterprise, right? How do you see it actually impacting when you when you sort of drop the doing and focus on the being with your own team? What are some of the things that have happened?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's several things. I think one, I approach my team in general from, I'm not a boss. Yes, I'm a leader, but everybody is also self-led on my team. Like I expect you to do your own work, right? Like, and I don't mean literal work. I mean your own, like work on yourself, to lead yourself in your life and in your business. Um, and so I think having that is really that, to bringing the conscious leadership stuff into my team and explaining, like it starts with you, it starts with me, and I'll go first. I'm using this in my life. I'm using this in my business. I want to share what I'm using because I think it's going to help you too. And really this, like you said, this sort of being place, this level of self-awareness of what I think one of the things that I just always come back to about conscious leadership is this concept of 100% responsibility. And when I like really understood that, I was like, feels like it changes the game for a lot because we're either taking more responsibility or less responsibility. And almost that to me is like where everything starts, right? So if there's an issue they're having with a client or an issue that someone on my team is having with another team member, it's like, okay, well, like, let's start with you. Like what is your part in this? And what is your story around why it's happening? And all of these things that I've learned through conscious leadership is, yes, we want a different outcome, like in the material sense, right? Or a different type of dynamic with this agent on the team, or ability to have a hard conversation with a client. It starts with your ability to integrate these things and then to use these tools. And so for me, it's been, yes, this like being and like helping you do your own self-awareness work and the personal development work matched with, okay, now that you've done that, here's how to have a hard conversation. Like, here's how to come back into connection with someone. Here's how to assess if the action you're about to take is coming from, and in my vocabulary, an aligned place or a misaligned place, right? Like, are you above the line or are you below the line? Are you about to take an action from fear or insecurity? Or do you want to shift, to use conscious leadership terms, right? Do you want to shift above the line and And here's a way that we can do that so that the outcome you take because you have a desired result actually lands. And so, I mean, I literally use it all day, every day now, because it to me, again, like I said, it just becomes the like, almost like the Bible to come back to of like, well, how do we navigate this situation? And I can flip through the pages and be like, that'll work. Let's use that. So yeah, it's the being and the doing to me in a really beautiful, simplified way.
You know, in real estate, there are a lot of heroes. There are heroes in brokerages, there are heroes of agents. This idea that, and I think it comes from this idea that we live in a service industry. It's an industry where you're supposed to like take care of others and create great experiences. But when taken too far, this like hero stuff can really be damaging to people. You know, in conscious leadership, we talk about the hero, the victim, and the villain. But I see heroing a lot. In real estate. Can you talk about like how heroing has showed up in your world or how you've seen it with their agents and how you've gone after that?
Absolutely. Like, I mean, I was heroing all day, every day. That's why I was burned out, right? I thought everything was on me. And it's interesting you use that word service, right? Like the service industry. Because in the last few years, like something I'm really committed to is like shifting this perspective from service to contribution. Like we've got to click out of service because service has a time and a place. But our real role as agents, as team leaders, as leaders in this space is one of contribution. And so to me, yes, we get like this gets bred into us early on in the industry. Take every phone call, be available, jump when they say to jump, unlock that door quickly, like beat the other guy. Like everything is this essentially heroing. And so that just creates a lot of misalignment, right? I mean, and so we see it at a lot of places, and for some of us it fuels that sort of like sense of self-worth. And so a lot of us hang out in the hero space for a long time. I know that I did. But in learning conscious leadership and really seeing how much I was heroing, particularly over the last year of my life in 2024 and kind of some things I was navigating, I was like, oh, no wonder I still feel this way, right? Like, no wonder, because it was such an automatic mode of operation for me that when I really started to shift, I saw a lot of things change. But I think part of what was really helpful is, that triangle, the hero, victim, villain triangle that conscious leadership talks about, where we can sort of identify where we are. Because I think it's really hard I talk all day about self-awareness, but the key to that is identifying where you are. And I think that's what conscious leadership really gave as a tool too, is to identify where we are, right? Are we heroing because I can't change if I don't know where I am.
Yeah. I think the other thing about heroing, and I know that you do this with your team and your clients, is being open to just recognizing the benefit that you're getting from heroing and also the cost, not just to you, but the cost to the person that you're heroing, right? Because it feels really good to maybe jump in and fix it or do someone's work on your team because they didn't get to it, right? But the cost is basically that's teaching them, hey, I don't think that you're capable of stepping up. Right? Or maybe it's costing them a really important lesson that they needed to learn. Otherwise they're just going to keep recycling this stuff, right? And I'm curious, like, has there been a moment for you where you kind of had that realization or that clicked of like, oh, that this is what's happening? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I'm like, which one do I pick? Because it's like it was everywhere. Like truly, it was everywhere. Um, one particular thing was, if I would hear that someone on the team was like struggling or dissatisfied or like something with like the team, right? Like maybe they didn't have enough support with another agent, or I like, I'll kind of use that example. Like I always took it as my responsibility. Like, I'm going to fix this problem. You didn't ask me to, but I'm going to. let me get another agent. I'll get this agent. She can join our team. She can help you with these things. And I was so quick. Like, I was so quick to jump on the, like, I'll fix it, because I made it mean something about me, that this person had this type of experience or feedback or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, let me fix that for you. I can do better. And really watching myself, like, we're going through something right now where, like, there's a pattern playing out. And I was like, oh, I contributed to this pattern because I kept heroing in these ways. So I'm not going to do that this time. And instead, like, help you help yourself, right? Help you do what feels right for you. And so it's like I almost have to, like, slow play my own life at times because it was such a default muscle for me. And so, yeah, I think it's shown up a lot in my team dynamics. I'm really quick to want to feel like I am being asked to help, even when I'm not being asked to help. I feel like I am. And then deciding that I'm the only one who can do it. And that's been, like, a funny thing to watch.
Ooh, that is everywhere in real estate. And team leaders, it's like the number one thing I hear. Well, I just have to do it. There's nobody I could possibly bring on that could do what I can do.
No. And no one will do it like me. And I have the special sauce. And so I guess I just have to do it because no one else can do it like this.
Which keeps them burned out and exhausted and miserable.
It's so toxic. Like, it is.
You're in hero if you are saying, I have to do it, right? It's like,
yeah. But this is that shift, though, that to me was really cool, was from service to contribution. Like, if you're heroing, you're in service mode. Like, you're like, I got to fix it. I got to do the thing. It's a doing. Like, heroing is, like, truly a doing state. Where what really, really helped me step out of it was my role now, where I am at in my business and in my career and as a team lead, my value is not from all the things that I can do. My value is from how can I contribute to you, to this team, to this business, to my clients' lives in meaningful ways. That is of equal value, if not honestly more, than my ability to show a property and tell you all of its great features, right? And so I did this dance for a long time where I had to sort of, like, reorientate myself to, my value is not in the services I provide. My value is in the contribution I am offering to these people.
Kelly, I love this so much. I love this so much because, what's going on in the industry right now is, like, what is the value of an agent? What's the value? And that's always been there, but it is intensifying dramatically based on everything that's happening in the world right now. And I think people have been using the word advisor a lot, like, I am advising, but I think this contribution angle is even better, and setting it up as a contrast to service, I think is super important. You as a leader of your team can create excellent service for your clients. It doesn't mean that service isn't part of it. It just means that, like, that you don't have to own that to the nth degree. In fact, by doing so, you are not contributing, you are not advising, because you're only servicing. So I just love this contrast that you've built here, because I genuinely believe that the agents over the next 10 years who will find great success, because they are doing exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, to me, and I explain this to my real estate clients, like, which I don't do a lot transaction anymore. Like, I'm truly leading my team, but I still will go get certain business and I'll still, do the listing presentation. But I explain to them, like, here's my role and my contribution. Here's my team's role and their contribution. They're going to handle a lot of the door unlocking and photographing and all these things. And I'm going to contribute by strategy and negotiations. Like, here's my camp, here's their camp. And by the way, we're a team with shared values and standards and expectations that we will knock out of the park. And, like, here's what you can expect from me. And that, like, clients love it. They love it because they are hiring, like, they're not hiring us to just unlock doors and, like, help them buy 4 walls and a roof. They're hiring us so that they can have, in my opinion, a meaningful experience around one of the most important things in their life, right? Their home represents a whole heck of a lot. And And so this is, I do think, like the parting of the sea. There will always be consumers who just want service. Cool. They know what brokerage to go to for that. And then there will be consumers who are very aligned with people like Home Collective, who are like, this is so important to me and this means so much. And my family's story is all tied up in this house. And we really want someone who contributes to our transition into our next home.
Yeah. Mm.
And I think we can free ourselves so much when we start to live by those principles.
Kelly, I'm curious about some of the tools in your toolkit to help your own team and your clients bring some of that self-awareness. I know that you're really deeply engaged in human design, and I know that you're kind of also engaged in Enneagram. And I'm curious for you, how are those tools sort of meaningful in your coaching? And then, you know, for real estate agents that might be curious, like what is that, right? How would you describe, you know, the value of that?
Yeah, I love this question. And I'm also going to also bring in conscious leadership because I think it was the third like missing piece, to be honest, to some of this work. So one, I mean, I use a lot of human design in my coaching. And this is because when I had my sabbatical, when I realized, wow, there's a period I was aligned and then a period I was misaligned, I was like, as soon as I realized that, I think it was the very next day that I came across human design. And I was like, dang, this is the vocabulary for what I was living and how I was building my business the first 8 years and then where I was not. And so human design, I mean, the crux of it is that it's just a self-awareness tool. It's the science of differentiation, essentially. Like we are all very different. And human design can show us, kind of like astrology, right? Like you have your signs and we all know what they are. But human design is there's 5 different types. And within those types, there is a way that we should use our energy. There's a way we're meant to make decisions, and there's a way we're meant to actualize the things in our life. They look very different for all of us. And yet the industry, most of the coaching is only speaking to one. And this is why people feel so lost and inadequate, is because it's not resonating with what is natural and right for them. And so I love human design because I think the more you understand the way that you're designed, the more permission it gives you to go out into your life and into your business and create the thing that you desire to create in the ways that feel really good to you. It's like, this should not feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. This should feel like ease and flow. It doesn't mean I don't work hard. I work my ass off, but like I enjoy it. I'm enjoying every moment. I'm in flow state most of the time. And human design can help you get there.
Yeah, you've shared so much about, I've learned so much about human design from you. And I think one of the feelings that I got was this huge unlock. It was almost like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've been gaslit. Like I'm supposed to be this one way. And oh, no wonder I actually called Danielle and was like, oh my God, this is why I don't do this thing. Like, this is why I don't just generate blog posts out of the blue when it's so easy for Danielle. And like, it was this huge, like, oh my God, what a relief. And so that's what I hear you saying, right? It's like, there's this recipe playbook that the world has put out there for how you're supposed to run a business and run a funnel if you're a successful entrepreneur and all these things, right? And then you realize that that's not actually how you're made up. And it's like, oh, thank God I can actually be the way that I am, right? And lean into that.
No, it's permission. It's like the things that come natural and easy to you come natural and easy to you for a reason. Like that's how you're meant to bring your magic to the world. But our society has conditioned us to believe it's supposed to be hard. And we're supposed to conform and we're supposed to mold and contort and like fit in this box. And then nothing works. And so to me, it's like the ultimate permission. I mean, I was just on a coaching call yesterday and my client said something and I was like, yeah, girl, because you're not designed to do it that way. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, you do this part and then you get support for this part. And she was just like, I get to do that? I was like, yeah. Like it's supposed to feel good. And I think like it's so much of human design, honestly, the first 5 years is like deconditioning. It's this deconditioning of all the ways we've been told to show up, all of the ways we've been told are meaningful and valuable. Like we live in a society that's like, it's like they value like initiating things and working really, really hard and like bringing it through. And like we just get really conditioned to believe that certain things are more valuable than others. And so I've done a lot of my own work on this, like to really understand, how I'm meant to share my gifts. And so I love human design. I think it provides an ultimate unlock along with Enneagram and this. So both of these things really create a level of self-awareness that feels useful.
Kelly, what is your Enneagram and how has that showed up?
Okay, this is like a hot debate, actually.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
When I took the test, I was in a mood. I'm not going to lie. I was in like a very spicy mood. And I just remember being like, yep, that's my answer. Yep, that's my answer. So anyways, it might have skewed my results. So like maybe just approach it from like an even keel space. But I think I came out as a 3, but it was like a 4 was like right there, right, Heather? And the more we've done our work, I'm probably a 4. Like it's probably pretty solid 4. I don't know, Heather, like you can.
You're definitely a 4 with a 3 wing.
Okay.
1,000%. I'm taking that to the grave. I will tell you, much like my reaction to my human design type that I did not like, because society has conditioned us to want to be a certain way. You're spot on with that point. I think that's what happens in Enneagram is like we sort of glamorize different types. And in Enneagram, there's 9 types and there's no rank order. They were all equally wonderful and have their own shadow sides, and there's a lot of glamorization of like the achiever type, which is the 3, right? And so I think a lot of us skew that way. I think you are a 4.
What does being a 4 mean? And like, how does that show up in your life? Just for people who are new to Enneagram.
Oh, I feel like Heather might have to answer that for me because I still have to reference my sheets at times because I'm like, wait, because I'm so entrenched in human design. But I think maybe Heather, if you could share what my 4 means. I know my 3 was like achiever and like these things that I have been like I was rewarded for. And so I could see how my 3 wing is very present and this like perfectionism and this sort of like thing that shows up. But
yeah, so for people who are listening who are new to Enneagram, it's a personality typing system. It's a little bit different from a lot of the personality typing systems in that it actually gets to the underlying sort of motivation of why we behave the way that we behave versus just that we do a certain thing. And the 4 is the individualist. And, the 4 takes a lot of pride in being seen as unique. And so there's different types in Enneagram, and the 2, 3, 4s are part of the heart types who, care a lot about perception. Every type has a way that they care. They want to be seen or perceived in the world. And the 4 for you, I mean, it just is so aligned to who you are. Like I think Danielle and I see it so clearly. And even just hearing you talk, right? It's like, you get to be unique in the world is what I'm hearing you say about your entire business and ethos. And that is what your essence is as a 4, right? It's like, I am unique and I am different and I am deeply creative and I'm deeply introspective. And, there's directions that a 4 will go in stress and growth that are aligned to what you're saying. And so also in Enneagram, you can have these wing types. So to feel really naturally inclined towards a 3, which is the next door neighbor of a 4, is also really normal. You're a 4 with a 3 wing. You love to achieve.
But Heather, something you just said that I think was really helpful about the Enneagram is understanding where we go when there's like stress or pressure. And then you might be able to articulate what that is again, because that helped me.
Yeah. So in stress, the 4 will go towards a 2, which is an over rotation to service and helping others, right? The 2 is the helper, right? That's heroing. And in growth, the 4, who sometimes really spends a lot of time in here and can get like in unhealthy states a little bit like emotional or kind of deeply wound up in their own thoughts, will go towards a 1, which is a little bit more objective and principled, right? It's like, okay, this isn't like I can just sort of see this for what it is. And it's just clear and it's not all about me. It's about, something else that's happening that I can look at more at the facts versus the stories. And so I think when we work together, those growth directions and stress directions become really clear when you're kind of articulating some of the stories or the issues that you're going through too.
Yeah. to me, it like provided some pattern recognition too. Like, oh, I went there. Okay, so that was where I could see like, oh, I'm heroing. So for me, I was like, well, then I'm out of alignment. There's clearly some stress and pressure there. So it's like, it's just, again, it's that level of self-awareness that gives you, it's like, to me, it just kept giving me something to anchor into to then make this conscious choice for change. This conscious, like, okay, well, then where do I want to go if this is where I am?
Right. And I'm hearing you say, like, we talk a lot about in this work, shifting from reacting unconsciously. We all just show up in the world and we react in our parenting, in our marriages, in our work. And what I'm hearing you say is these tools and this awareness, even in Enneagram or in human design, has let you stop and say, wait a minute, what if I just paused and responded and sort of owned my part and chose what to do versus being on autopilot and just reacting, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the tools from conscious leadership, like once we have that moment of pausing, that moment of self-reflection and awareness, and then we get to decide what tool to use. And one of the most important ones for me has been curiosity of like, okay, and it could be about it's always about the other person, right? Like something happened and it triggered me. Like there's something on my team that happened and it triggered me. And I could have just jumped to an action. I could have jumped to heroing. I could have jumped to a tactic. And instead being like, how about let me just be curious, like what's going on with you? Where is this coming from? Like these aren't just like, intangible concepts. These are like, to me, like get reduced down into like really practical steps to kind of creating these outcomes. So
Kelly, I want to like zoom out and talk about coaching at like a bigger level relative to real estate. And one of the big hot topics, something Heather and I've been talking a lot about recently is AI. And, you know, these days you can enter in some incredible prompts and get back like some pretty decent coaching. Like, yeah, this is what's going on. Like, you know, here's how you can approach it. What can you do? Tell me what you think. Like, where do you think this all goes in terms of where does coaching go with AI? Because we can't pretend like it's not happening. It's happening. But like, how do these two things actually live together and create even better outcomes for people? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, my perspective is I love AI. I think it's the progression of anything, right? But I kind of liken it, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but I kind of liken it just to like Google. It's like, I want information. Tell me information. Like, how can I? Like, there is no shortage of how to out there, right? Like, you can go get the how to. You got YouTube, you've got Google, you've got ChatGPT, you got it. But like, AI doesn't really know you. They don't know your history. They don't know your shadows. They don't know your fears. They don't know why you're repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. And so to me, that's where a human gets to meet you. It's where a human gets to hold up a mirror. It's where a human gets to say, hey, I've walked this journey. I'm just like 10 steps ahead of you and I can show you the way. And I just don't think that AI can get to that heart of that. I think it's so useful for 1,000 other things. I use it in my business all the time. But I don't think it will ever replace us as humans. I don't think that it's meant to. I don't think that's like a fear that tracks for me, especially when we talk about service or contribution. Yeah, can AI replicate service? You bet. There's going to be a robot that unlocks that front door for you. Believe me. You know, there's going to be an ability for anybody to walk through a house without an agent and do that thing. Absolutely. But contribute to, you know, from a true, like personalized advisor, guide, contributor, I think that is where we still have a place.
You know, something that I really appreciate about your coaching and who you are as a human is your ability to be really present. Like when you're with Kelly, you know Kelly's with you. You know, like she sees you, she gets you, she understands you on kind of like an unspoken level. And so when I think about how AI won't replace Kelly, is because what Kelly offers is not just a bunch of courses that you can watch anytime you want. What Kelly offers is she offers her connection, her presence with you. And there is like a knowing and an understanding and an exchange that happens in that AI just cannot replicate. And I really do think that in many ways, that humanness, that presence, that connection from a coaching perspective becomes even more valuable. Like the ones who are great at what they do, like you, they actually will see more success because I think people will seek it out more because there's even more just how to and robots and search engines and videos. It's like, I need someone who can look at me and be with me. Does that make sense to you too?
Yeah, yeah. I mean that connection and that someone's seeing you and deeply understanding you. I think there's already a massive desire for that. We all crave that in someone. And so I hold that with such an honor to be that person for other people. And so yeah, I think it's going to continue, but I also think like this work and what we started this conversation with is that this is bigger than the doing, right? This is bigger than the actions. This is bigger than the information. This is about frequency, like energetic frequency and resonance. And so like the work that I do is from this like deeply intuitive, deeply connected space. It's that is what allows for you to see things in a material way. That I don't think that anything can can replace that. And so I love it. To me, it's such an honor and it's such a gift to like be that person for people and to share that. So
You know, we talk a lot about at Helm about how the importance of having both that like deep experience in the industry and all the things that we've been talking about today, and putting those two things together is really what everyone deserves in a great coach. You know, it's like, I don't want you to just be great at human design, Kelly. I want to know that you've actually walked in my shoes and like done the thing that I am doing, because together that is so powerful.
well, and the thing is it's like I have a treasure chest of 16 years of business. I will just take it, like give it. Like I have all the tactics, have all the knowledge, have all the skills. I will literally give you everything. But what I know to be true is it does not work if you are not aligned. And like that's the work. So it's like we have to bring these two things together.
It's exciting. It's really exciting to see you do it. Okay, last question for today. Actually, I have two questions for you. The first question is, if you could go back and share something with your like 25-year-old self, what would you tell her?
It's like almost makes me emotional. I think that from the chair I sit in today on this specific day, I'm so proud of her, man. Like, I took a crazy jump. I jumped in 2009. It made no sense. I had a job with a paycheck, and all my friends had lost their jobs. But I'm proud of her for leading with her heart in a world over the years that has made that feel really hard and really unsafe to do. And so I would tell her that I'm proud of her and it's the right thing. And also, she's going to question everything about that decision at several points. And that questioning it does not make it wrong. That question is actually an indication of your next level.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, last question. What do you hope for this industry? What's your wish for real estate?
My hope is that, I mean, it's 2025. Can we like please make this about what it's really about? Can we stop making this about deals and production and business and go back to like our homes are our most like there's just such I have such a reverence for the power of a home and what it does for people and our great honor to be a part of that. And I just want us to go back to that at the forefront of this as an industry. I'm so over the noise and the complication and the fighting. I'm like, what are we doing? Who is this really for? Because it's not, I don't think it's for the consumers anymore right now. And so that's my hope. I just want to get back to that. I want to do work from that place.
Ooh, I love that. Thanks for being with us, Kelly, today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was very fun.
It was great.